When you hold a 1981-cent coin in your hand, it may seem like just a small piece of loose change. But behind that simple copper-colored coin lies a fascinating story of history, economics, and national identity. Today, we're diving deep into the background of the 1980 U.S. penny, exploring its design, production, and the era it represents. The 1981-cent coin was issued by the official body responsible for producing coinage by 1980. The penny had already been a part of American currency for nearly 2 centuries, first introduced in 1793. However, the version we recognize today, featuring Abraham Lincoln, has its own unique history. The obverse, or front side, of the 1980 penny features a portrait of. This design was first introduced in 1909 to mark the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. It was the first time a real person appeared on a regular issue U.S. coin, breaking from the earlier tradition of using symbolic figures like Lady Liberty. The designer of the Lincoln portrait whose initials VB can be found on some earlier versions of the coin. His design has remained one of the longest running in U.S. coin history, making the Lincoln cent one of the most recognizable coins in the world. On the reverse side of the 1980 penny, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial located in. This design was introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Interestingly, if you look close at the coin, you can actually see a tiny image of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial, making it one of the few coins that depict the same person on both sides. The reverse design was created by who served as chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. His work helped define the look of American coinage during the mid-20th century. Now, let's talk about composition. The 1980 penny is primarily made of copper, specifically 95% copper and 5% zinc. This composition had been standard for decades. However, by the late 1970s and early 1980s, the rising cost of copper became a serious issue. In fact, the metal value of the coin was getting close to its face value of 1 cent. This economic pressure eventually led to a major change just 2 years later in 1982, when the U.S. Mint switched to a zinc-based composition with only a thin copper coating. That makes the 1980 penny one of the last classic copper pennies, which is why collectors often pay special attention to coins from this period. In terms of minting locations, 1980 pennies were produced at 3 major facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia typically have no mint mark, while Denver coins carry a small D, and San Francisco coins, marked with an S, were usually proof coins made for collectors rather than circulation. If you're wondering about value, most 1980 pennies are still worth just 1 cent in everyday circulation. However, coins in uncirculated condition, or those with unique errors, can be worth significantly more. Collectors look for factors like mint state condition, unusual markings, or rare production errors such as double strikes or off-center designs. The 1980 penny also reflects the broader economic climate of the time. The late 1970s and early 1980s were marked by inflation and rising metal prices, which forced governments to rethink how coins were produced. In that sense, this small coin tells a much bigger story about the challenges of maintaining a stable currency system. Another interesting aspect is how durable these coins have proven to be. Because of their high copper content, many 1980 pennies have survived in relatively good condition compared to newer zinc-based pennies, which tend to corrode more easily over time. For coin collectors or numismatists, the 1980 penny represents a transitional era. It stands right on the edge of a major shift in U.S. coin production. While it may not be the rarest or most valuable coin, it holds historical significance as one of the last widely circulated copper cents. In conclusion, the 1981 cent coin is far more than just spare change. It carries with the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, the artistry of skilled engravers, and the economic realities of its time. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about the coins in your pocket, the 1980 penny offers a small but meaningful glimpse into American history.